I was one of those individuals who, for many years, took many things for granted. My circumstances, luck, privilege, family, relationships, friendships. And over the past few years, I think due to certain events and critical relationships, I've begun to do that less and less. And if there's one realization I've come to, it is this that to be born as a human being and hold and occupy a space on this planet is a huge, huge, great blessing and privilege. And I say that because it gives that individual the opportunity to realize and manifest their dreams, goals, hopes, aspirations first at an extremely micro level concerning the self, and then potentially bring limitless joy for others around themselves, and hopefully also evolve to a point where there is a clear sense of one's purpose, and then invest in fulfilling that purpose. And that is hugely, hugely a privileged position and opportunity to have. However, the irony is that oftentimes in the sort of quagmire of life, particularly contemporary modern life, one of the first things that gets compromised is the self, both mind and body. And that, if nothing else, is what prevents us from completely and fully fulfilling those roles for the self, for others, and for the universe at large. I share this slightly complicated and slightly philosophical background because our session today is titled Crafting One's Best Self. And my limited and rudimentary understanding is precisely that we journey to a point where holistically, mind and body wise, we can be the most potent and effective versions of ourselves in order to fulfill whatever it is that we wish to fulfill. And there can't be anyone better to talk about this than our guest this evening. We are being joined by Dikshita, and she's somebody who genuinely radiates positivity, energy, vitality, goodness, and she's sort of had her own extremely profound journey that has seen her evolve from what was already an extremely sought after resource in the physiotherapy space, having worked with some world class athletes and such, and then come into the realm of a more psychological, mental, spiritual, cerebral area where she is guiding, supporting, and helping lots of people become and craft their best versions as a coach, a mentor, a health coach, etc. And so I'm very excited for this conversation. It's an extremely important conversation. And with that, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Dikshita for making time and joining us.
Thank you so much, Karthik. That was a lovely introduction, and you have very well recapped, I think, the entire thing that we're trying to cover today. So I'm very, very grateful of this opportunity, first of all, and secondly, the initiative that you are taking with this platform. It's a wonderful and lovely initiative, which is highly required, I feel, in today's world.
Thank you. That means the world to me. Now, Dikshita, as is the case with a lot of our guests, um, I would love it if we began by you, sort of in your own words, outlining a little bit about your work currently. And then, of course, we will delve into where you were and how that transition happened.
Right. So currently, my work is more of an educator, I'll say, because that's what I'm trying to do with this whole account. So I have an account on Instagram by the name of the Dikshita Anchal. The space is all about self-crafting, which I'll elaborate going forward. Um, but again, it's my life project, so I'm really putting my heart into it. It actually involves a lot of things with respect to everything starting from healing, I think, because I feel that's the foundation that you build on. So you heal, you find what your purpose is, and then how you achieve it, and how can you get to become the best self that you can possibly be. So that's the whole initiative with this account. The purpose, I'll say, with this account would be that I am trying to this is what I always tell to all my friends and the people who ask me, "What are you trying to do with this account?" It's to touch millions of lives. That's my goal, and not just touch, create a positive impact in a way that when I leave, people remember me for the good I've done in their life. So that's the whole point of this account, to leave back a legacy that can help people. So yeah, that's about this space and this account.
Which gives me an opportunity, not that I'm purely saying this out of reciprocity, but to really sort of genuinely underscore the work that you're doing, particularly on social media, because we know, and we might as well call a spade, that a significant portion of content that one sees on social media and across social media, not to diminish anyone's hard work, is and has a tendency of being slightly superficial or banal. And in and amongst that sort of milieu, it's even more important to have authentic, genuine voices of reason, at least sporadically intersperse that landscape. So thank you for doing that. I want to talk a little bit, of course, without breaching any personal boundaries you don't wish to. But it would be wonderful for you to share a little bit of an insight around where this journey for you really started. Your days and your distinguished sort of career in physiotherapy, and then maybe perhaps some sort of factors that led to a slight change in direction.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So for my journey, actually, I was always very drawn towards the human body, how it works. It used to always amaze me. So I was very clear, if I ever want to do anything, it would be in the medical field. Also, that I loved sports. So I wanted something that combines the both of it. That's how I got into physiotherapy in the first place. Um, but again, the thing was, with that field, it's a very, very physical and tedious field. So it's very draining on your body, which initially you don't realize. 1 year down the line, 2 year down the line, then you start experiencing that fatigue, that burnout, and everything. It starts setting in. So I think for me, it was very clear from the start that whatever I do, it has to be something that impacts somebody's life, be it in a healing way or be it in any other aspect of life. But it should create a positive impact, and it should be I'd rather say, a helping profession. So that's how I got into physiotherapy. But again, once you get into it, like once you're in your career, in your early years, you're all about, I want to grow, I want to get successful, I want to get better at what I'm doing. And I think through the years, I didn't realize the signs that my body was giving me through the initially it started with a little bit of fatigue. It started with a little bit of aches and pains here and there, which you tend to ignore. It's been a tiring day. It will go away the next morning, maybe. Over the period, you start to realize, oh, this is becoming more constant. And that's what happened. It became a lot more constant. And then to an extent that it became like a full blown burnout. And then I had episodes of dizziness and stuff. So that's how I actually got the, I'll say, opportunity to divert my attention to my health. And I then got diagnosed with a chronic illness, which actually made it very difficult for me to continue the field at all. because this profession itself is something where you have to constantly be on your feet, you're physically putting a lot of strenuous effort, which was completely not doable for me. With I got diagnosed with POTS, which is a form of dysautonomia. Your nervous system does not work as efficiently. So that's, I think, something that kind of made me introspect, redirect, is this something that I really want to do for the rest of my life? Or more than that, I'll say, is it even doable for me? Is it even sustainable for me? So I think that's how it started. And but internally, I always had this lack of satisfaction in terms of, is this really what I want to do? Like, is there something out there that I can be better at in terms of, you know, giving more to the society rather? So that doubt was always there. So I think that was one of the reasons which made me kind of actually introspect and redirect. Because I think if it was just the fact that, I'm ill, everybody goes through it, through their life, through their careers, it's fine, you get better and then you continue. But I think it was that internal feeling of that lack of, this is not something that I want to do for my life. Like, there has to be something out there that, it makes me excited to do. So that's how I think my redirection came. Uh, but I always say that my diagnosis came as a blessing. It came as a blessing in disguise to redirect me towards the life that I wanted to, because otherwise I don't think this account would have ever been on internet. So yeah.
Thank you first and foremost for sharing very, very personal information, but it helps us get to know you so much better. And you've said it yourself, but it gives me an opportunity to reiterate. And believe me, as a cancer survivor, I know what I'm saying, and I don't say it flippantly or loosely or casually, that the most difficult thing in the world is to view an insurmountable or seemingly insurmountable circumstance as from a positive place, particularly when it's taking place. But if we can adopt at some point the view that from adversity, more often than not, is birthed clarity and good, um, then it'll make it much more palatable, which is precisely what happened in your case and in my own. So that's absolutely wonderful. Mm, let's then come to crafting. Now, not, of course, I don't mean to sort of diminish the value of the context in which you use it, just to add a bit of humor. Through my growing up, the most coveted thing in our household, one of the most coveted things used to be craft cheese. So whenever I hear the prefix craft, it immediately makes things very nostalgic. But crafting is, to me, again, such a simple yet poignant term, because when I listen to it and I see it in the context that you seem to be using it, to me, it is taking a human being as really sort of a diamond in the rough. And then, just as an artisan or a craftsman would forgive me, for would sort of mold it and finesse it and refine it, and out of that would emerge the self after having crafted it. It's so beautiful. So that's how sort of I see self crafting. Where did this term itself to you come from, and what does it mean really?
Actually, you have put it very beautifully and poetically, I'd say. But yeah, the term self-crafting actually, it just came very randomly to me. For me, I always used to believe that, humans are very capable. I still believe that humans are very capable of anything that they can think of, possibly. So anything that you can think of, you can make it your reality. What ends up happening, I feel, is that most of the times it's our thoughts and beliefs that form the roadblock, and we can't move past it. So we just
Hmm.
believe that's the reality. self-crafting the term, it's as you mentioned, it's about becoming your best and your true self, not just your best self, but your true self.
Sure. Very
Uh,
important part. Yes.
yeah, so I feel a lot of the times, especially in our society, we are so overwhelmed, one, and burdened by all the expectations, all the things that we're supposed to do. And if you're
Right.
you're
And conditioning, prejudice, etc.
right, and if you're a little bit outside of the lines, you're like, no, you're not right. So the whole point of self-crafting is to one, understand if the beliefs that you actually have need not be yours, but even if they're not yours, are they even true? Are they even right? And if they're not right, what is the right belief that you need to inculcate? So that's the first part of it. And second, I believe the human life, it's so beautiful. And it is one of the biggest projects that you'll ever do, your life. And it's the most creative project you'll ever do. So you might as well make it your masterpiece. So that's the whole point of self crafting. It's showing up as your best self, but it just doesn't happen, out of the blue. You have to do the actual work, and healing is where we start, I feel, to reach there. So
Most
that's what self crafting is about.
Most definitely. In fact, if I was to just in order to sort of so we understand you correctly, which is important. Essentially, it is first to investigate and develop a certain accurate awareness, recognition of certain beliefs and patterns that are possibly rooted in incorrect or wrong sort of, I don't know, biases, dogmas, etc., cultural context, and then taking certain corrective and reparative measures, and emerging as with enough resilience and courage to not only be able to be one's true self, even if that doesn't conform, but also love that true self and be proud of it.
Right, right.
Um, I think you'll agree that a lot of times we talk about philosophies or concepts or theories, and then they remain theoretical unless we can offer a little bit of explanation or a practical insight or a contextualization of that theory. I know that you have evolved a sort of proprietary mechanism and ethos and philosophy and modality of your own. Whether you want to talk a little bit about that, or even if not that, explain just a bit in terms of, like in a very fundamental way, if somebody were to actually seek your guidance, who would that person typically be? Whom would it benefit? And what would that process look like?
Oh, I think it benefits in today's world, I think everybody, because
Okay.
we are also lost in life at the moment. And so I'll say it benefits. I actually get a lot of DMs from people, and I realized when I started this, I didn't realize that there'll be so many people reaching out in the first place. And when I see those people and they tell me that, oh, it's helping them so much, it's creating so much difference, then you realize, oh, your work is actually here to help somebody. There are people who need it. So I initially did not realize there'll be so many people out there who need it, but there are. So I think anybody can benefit from it. I feel a lot of the times also because uh, I feel most of the times people are lost in terms of their career. That's the biggest reason or the biggest thing that confuses them or makes them questions things. And I feel it comes from the fact that as an Indian society, especially, we are very clear as to, this profession is what is dignified, this is what you should be doing.
Right. So there's that very, very sort of short list of pre-approved sectors to get into.
Correct. Yeah, and anything outside of that, even if it can be successful, people won't support you because it's not up to their level of what it should be. So I think that is one of the areas because that's how it worked for me. Like for me, also, I was in a place where I didn't want to be in terms of my career, and I wanted to do something that really resonates with me. So I think that is one of the biggest, I'll say, areas. The process, I'll say, self-crafting is something that it starts with awareness. That's the first step, I'll say, as you mentioned earlier also. And I think awareness is a very big privilege. Not everybody has it. And if you have it, I feel a lot of the times people get scared of it. That, because then you have to introspect and look, oh, there's the bad part also. It's not always a good thing. So I think it starts with awareness where you realize that, this is the good part you have, this is the bad part you have. So you know what needs to be changed or worked on. And secondly, awareness about the fact that this is where you are, this is where you want to be. So you can't go there in your comfort zone. You have to step outside of it. So what are the things that you need to do? So I think it comes from awareness. After awareness, I'll say it comes from a regulated nervous system. Because I feel to achieve more, your body should be able to take more.
Yeah.
The body itself doesn't feel taking more. Even if it's a good thing for you, you won't ever digest it, I feel. So nervous system regulation would be the second most important thing. Then how do you implement it? I'll say making micro shifts, because I feel if you go to change everything in a day, you'll get very overwhelmed by it and your body would just reject it totally. So you need to find small ways in which you can teach your body that safety, and you have to do it repeatedly, because our patterns are built on repetition, and that's how our brain works. So if you want to rewire the whole process, you have to repeat it in a safe and sustainable manner.
Sure.
That,
Very, very important points. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The fourth step I'll say would be you change your narrative. Because if you're still operating from the old narrative, ki, oh, what will the society think? Then you have to stick with that and do what the society wants. So I think it comes down to changing the narrative of your existence. Like, what are your beliefs? What is your concept of self and all of that? And I think the final step would be that you be that person, even if you are not that person today. Unless you don't show your body, what it is to be that person, or if it's even safe to be that person, it won't, no matter how much effort you put in, it won't really accept it. So you need to show it on a daily basis that this is where you're going and it's safe to go there. So I think that's the whole process of self
That's
craft.
beautifully explained. Although I will say, just in order to sort of mirror the layperson's ground reality, and this is in no way to take away from the immense hard work that our parents put in providing for us a certain kind of upbringing and infrastructure and opportunities. But I think that particularly in India and South Asia, there is, if not active, a passive manner consistently in which guilt is built into children by parents, and that turns the umbilical cord into a like a jail-like chain from which you cannot, despite the fact that you want to, you recognize you need to, you're desperate to. It's very, very difficult. But yeah, I mean, in terms of a process, you're absolutely right. I want to also understand, Dikshita, that just in terms of, sheer pure logistics, or in terms of just so for people to understand the method, is it, is it sessions on the lines of talk therapy, or how does it work with you?
So I won't say it's exactly talk therapy because I feel talking is only one part. Like unless you don't implement it or you practice it, it doesn't really create any difference. Talking is good to feel heard and to feel understood, but what do you do after that?
Sure.
There has to be something that you can implement. So I feel it's a lot of small practices that you do on a regular basis that actually creates that change rather than just the talking part. But talking is definitely one big part of it, I'll say.
You have behind you iconic visuals from some of my favorite films, Pursuit of Happiness and Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
bookending you. Great. So now, these kinds of dialogues can go on and on, but I think we have a decent sort of round one understanding of what you're trying to do, how you came about to do it in the first place, relating to either of these areas. If there's something that we've not discussed, I've not asked you, or you'd like to specifically share, please do.
I think with respect to self-crafting, I think we've covered pretty much everything I'll say because I think you've asked the right questions, I feel, and I think we've covered all of it.
All right. So finally, I think this is slightly off topic in the sense that it's not thematically exactly what we've been discussing. But I remember that when you and I spoke in the lead up to this interaction, we had sort of agreed that it might be worth reiterating and underlining this very, very inextricable mind body connection that we tend to discount despite being intellectually aware of it. You are a pretty much a living example of this. Uh, so I think why don't we conclude by you sharing your sort of thoughts and insights around how symbiotically the psychological and the physical go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's a very important topic, I feel. And it is, I think one does not exist without the other. I feel your thoughts is what your body is going to look like inside and out. So that's why I think healing also becomes so important. A lot of the times, what we are currently, it's not just from our current life, it's a lot from what has happened over the years that we store in the body in the form of emotions. And when you don't give an outlet to that emotion, it starts showing up in physical symptoms. And and I think that's what most of the people today who are suffering with a lot of lifestyle diseases or other chronic illnesses, it's just, your stored trauma, your stored emotions that's showing up in the form of different ailments. And how it works, again, it's very simple. Like what you feed to your brain is what goes into the body. Like if you are constantly under stress, if you're constantly under these negative emotions, like for a small bout, it's good. Because obviously, for you to experience any emotion, the polarity of it has to be there. Like if there's no sorrow, if you don't know what sorrow is, you never know what feeling fully happy is.
Of course.
So that is always very important. But for that short bout, when it stays and it stays and it never ends, then you go into a state of dysregulated nervous system where your body just knows what it is to have the negative part of it. And once you're in that dysregulated state for a long time, you end up inflaming your whole body. And that's the root cause of all diseases. Anything that starts with the ailment starts with inflammation of the cells. So once you're inflamed, you get these physical symptoms. Some people don't stop at the symptoms, and then it develops into a full-blown disease. So I think it goes very much in hand. And unless you don't give that emotion an outlet or you heal that inner child, I don't think it's really possible to actually attain your best self or happiness also. I feel otherwise it's just, you are good for the outer world, but internally you're just dying inside every day.
Also, I think it's one of those situations where unless you do that deep dive and that arduous work, it's not easy. Nobody's pretending that it's all peaches and cream, but unless you do that, you're essentially just addressing and managing sort of symptoms rather than the root cause.
Exactly. Exactly. So I feel it's very, very important to learn safety in your body because unless you feel safety, you really can't do much with your life, is what my belief is. And to learn safety, it is that you will have to go back, look back into the painful moments. Why is it still hurting? Is it that's not resolved from there? And that requires a lot of courage. It's not easy to look back at the painful moments of your life and then get triggered by it and then work on it. So I think it takes a lot of courage, and that's why we end up blocking those emotions most of the time. It's better to always not attend to it rather than having to attend to it, give it all your, you know, get overwhelmed and drowned by it and everything. But we fail to realize that blocking it is only going to take you to a certain point. What after that? So
Absolutely.
I think resolution is very, very important, and I'm really glad that therapy is becoming so
Accepted.
out acceptable in the society today, because I feel everybody needs it. Everybody needs it. No matter your life is going great, also you need somebody to discuss it with, so you get a better, perception of life, or you get a different tangent of thinking.
Precisely, and you kind of preempted my what I thought was again a poetic and a nice way to sort of conclude this, because arduous as that process is, and I'm saying this to your face quite plainly, as long as there are lighthouses such as yourself to help individuals navigate those very choppy waters, I think there is immense hope yet for individuals and then ultimately for humanity. The simple fact is that there doesn't even have to necessarily always be an active conflict, just by virtue of, generations of humans being different, thinking differently, having different outlooks. There is bound to be, quote unquote trauma of some degree in pretty much all of us. So yeah, that healing journey is very, very important, to first liberate yourself and then emerge as the new and stroke real you. I'm very, very happy, buoyed, enthused, and optimistic that you are doing the work that you are. All the very best. Continue lighting the path of the butcode and weary. And we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for this dialogue.
Oh, thanks a lot for this opportunity. Actually, I'm really grateful that you reached out, and I hope you can touch further more lives, because that's what the goal is with all these mental and awareness initiatives that we are doing. So all the best to you as well. It's a
Thank
real
you.
platform that you are operating.
Thank you so much. Take care.